The Urantia Book has inspired musicians from all over the world, offering a vast imaginative framework that blends science, philosophy, and spirituality, which is considered ambitious fertile ground for creative minds. However, due to some believing that the Urantia Book is heretical, many celebrity followers of the text understandably do not publicize their use of such material. After all, it's also no secret that many musicians are frequently influenced by either spiritual or religious scripture, with some names being provided in today's top 5 video really being no-brainers for fans of these artists. The Urantia Papers presents a detailed cosmology of the universe filled with celestial beings, spiritual hierarchies, and planetary histories. Musicians drawing to spacey, psychedelic, or metaphysical themes, like Jimi Hendrix or Jerry Garcia, often find this vision creatively stimulating as a little foreshadowing of artists we will be discussing today. Its reinterpretation of Jesus' life and teachings emphasizes personal spiritual growth, divine purpose, and universal brotherhood. These messages have influenced artists like Carlos Santana, who sees music as a vehicle for healing and unity. The book's poetic, symbolic language and epic scope has most certainly inspired lyrics, album concepts, and even stage personas. Steve Vai, for instance, composed the song Midway Creatures, based on a section of the book about spiritual intermediaries. For aspiring musicians who seek more than mindless entertainment for their audience, those who want to provoke thought or elevate consciousness, the Urantia Book may offer rich philosophical foundations for your future work. It encourages exploration of themes like free will, soul evolution, and the nature of reality. Historically, many artists who embraced the book came from the 1960s and 1970s counterculture, where questioning traditional religion and authority was very common. The book's non-dogmatic, universalist tone made it a spiritual alternative that aligned with those musicians' values. Before we begin, it should be noted that much of today's video is evidenced by unverified websites or outside journalists who interviewed or knew these associated musicians. In addition, several of these artists are now deceased, meaning that nobody truly knows their religious convictions upon their passing. And just because an artist was once inspired by such a religious text does not mean that they believed every word of its pages. All right, with that out of the way, let's talk about 5 musicians who were inspired by the Urantia Book. All right, number 1, Elvis Presley. Perhaps the most prominent Urantian, and perhaps most famous, was Elvis Presley's connection with the Urantia Book. That was considered one of the more intriguing spiritual threads of his life. While he never publicly spoke at length about it, multiple biographical sources and researchers like Michael Makelzak have documented that Elvis not only read the book, but carried it with him and often referenced its teachings. Again, it's only with the advent of the internet that many people have become more accepting of other religions or practices versus the period of time and deep Southern cultural locality Elvis Presley found themselves in. After all, swinging those hips and the love of rock and roll back then was enough for people to believe that Elvis was possessed by the devil. Imagine back then if Elvis went public about his Urantian beliefs and the backlash on his career that would ensue. He was reportedly introduced to the Urantia Book back in the 60s, during a period of deep spiritual searching. Elvis was known to explore a wide range of religious and metaphysical texts, and the Urantia Book, with its expansive cosmology, teachings on Jesus, and vision for the universe, these concepts resonated with his quest for meaning beyond fame. Friends and associates have recalled that he would read the passages aloud and discuss its ideas, particularly those about spiritual growth, the soul's journey, and celestial beings. While it's hard to pinpoint direct influences on his music, the book's themes of divine purpose and cosmic destiny paralleled the more introspective and gospel-influenced aspects of his later work. It became part of the spiritual toolkit that helped shape his worldview in his final years. All right, number 2, Jimi Hendrix. Jimi Hendrix's fascination with the Urantia Book fits right into his lifelong quest for cosmic meaning and spiritual depth. While he never publicly discussed the book in detail, multiple sources, including more research done by Michael, indicated that Hendrix read it and was influenced by its expressive vision of the universe. Hendrix was already deeply immersed in science fiction, mysticism, and metaphysical ideas. He often wrote about space, aliens, and otherworldly journeys in his notebooks, and his music reflected a yearning for transcendence. The Urantia Book, with its blend of cosmology, spiritual philosophy, and teachings about celestial beings, likely resonated with his imaginative and exploratory mind. Though there's no direct lyrical reference to the book in his songs, the themes of universal brotherhood, divine purpose, and multidimensional reality echoed throughout tracks like Third Stone from the Sun and 1983, A Merman I Should Turn to Be. His interest in the book was part of a broader spiritual curiosity that helped shape his worldview and creative output. All right, number 3, Carlos Santana. Carlos Santana had spoken openly about the profound spiritual influence the Urantia Book had on him. He described reading it, particularly paper 134, section 6, Law, Liberty, and Sovereignty, as deeply resonant with his vision for global peace and unity. The book's teachings inspired him to imagine a world governed not by national self-interest or religious exclusivity, but by compassion, integrity, and collective well-being. Santana has even envisioned a council of beings of light. Figures like Desmond Tutu, Maya Angelou, the Dalai Lama, and Oprah Winfrey, who he believed embodied the kind of divine leadership he believed the world needs. He refers to these ideals as weapons of mass compassion, a phrase that captures his blend of activism and spirituality. This cosmic inclusive worldview aligns with Santana's musical legacy, which fuses Latin, rock, jazz, and spiritual themes into a genre-defying sound. His embrace of the Urantia Book reflects his lifelong quest to elevate consciousness through both his music and message. All right, number 4, Jerry Garcia. Jerry Garcia, the iconic frontman of the Grateful Dead, was among the musicians known to have been influenced by the Urantia Book. While Garcia didn't speak extensively about it in public, accounts from researchers and those close to the band suggest he read the book and found its cosmic and spiritual themes compelling. The Urantia Book's expansive vision of the universe is portrayed of celestial beings, and its reinterpretation of Jesus' life likely resonated with Garcia's deep interest in metaphysics, consciousness, and the mystical. These themes paralleled the Grateful Dead's ethos, exploratory, transcendent, and rooted in a sense of cosmic wonder. Garcia's improvisational style and the band's psychedelic journeys often reflected a yearning for deeper truths, something the Urantia Book also seeks to illuminate. Byron Belitsos, a scholar and publisher associated with the Urantia movement, has discussed Garcia's interest in the book and its influence on the broader countercultural and musical landscape of the 1960s and 1970s. All right, number 5, Willie Nelson. Willie Nelson is often listed among the musicians who have read or been influenced by the Urantia Book, though details about the depth of his engagement are more anecdotal than well documented, despite the clear picture I present of him holding the text. According to sources that track the book's cultural reach, particularly within the musical world, Nelson is believed to have explored its teachings as part of a broader spiritual and philosophical curiosity. Given Nelson's longstanding interest in metaphysics, peace, and universal love, it's not a surprise that the Urantia Book would most certainly appeal to him. The book's themes, such as unity of science and religion, the spiritual evolution of humanity, and a cosmic interpretation of Jesus' life, align with the kind of expansive, inclusive worldview Nelson often expresses in his music and activism. While there's no direct evidence that the Urantia Book shaped specific songs or lyrics, it likely contributed to the spiritual palette from which he draws. His openness to diverse spiritual ideas, from Christianity to Eastern philosophy, makes the Urantia Book a natural fit in his personal library of cosmic thought. Well, there you have it, just a few musicians who are brave enough to reflect back on their own religious convictions and resist the societal dogmas that surrounded them. Thank you again for watching today's video, your continued support, and I'll see you on the next video.